Hi, in this tutorial I will show you how to import metadata from Oracle database. So just open the repository, click on file, click on import metadata. Earlier in 10G we used to use ODBC connection to establish a connection with Oracle database. In 12C and in 11G we are going to use OCI Oracle caller interface to log in to connect to the Oracle databases. So before connecting to the database, before giving the credentials to the database, just make sure that you can establish a connection to your Oracle database or not from this mission. So in order to check that, go to SQL Developer, click on the connection, go to the properties, and here are the details which will be used for the DSN, data source name, and just click on the test whether you are able to connect to the database. Here the status shown as success, so that means that you are able to connect to the Oracle database from the system where you are going to develop. Now these are the three details that we need: host name, port number and SID, and username and password. Now if you open the import metadata select source tab, here you can see data source name. So data source name follows with the host name, which is local host here, and port number colon port number 1, and make sure that you are giving a backslash here and write the SID name. Enter SID, and here username, here password. So if at all if we are entering any wrong details here, when you click on next page, you will get an error message here. So that means that indirectly you are not able to connect to your database, or it might be a chance that your TNS may not be present in the client tool. And one more reason might be your username and password might be wrong to the database. So to make if the connection is correct and all the details are valid, when you click on next, you will see this page, relational sources. So basically here we are selecting three database objects: tables, keys and foreign keys. What happens is, in real time when you are working with the source tables, you will not know the exact relationships between the tables. So it's better if you select these three objects and click on next, so that it will form a relationship automatically. Just click on next, and now in the next screen you will be able to see the schemas that with which you can able to access by using SH user. So here select the SH schema. So now we are going to import two tables. One is product, which is a dimension, and another one is sales, which is a fact. Just click on this button to import the metadata. So these are the properties of the connection pool. This we are not going to discuss it now. We will be going to discuss this in the later classes. So click on OK. So this will take a couple of minutes. As soon as you import the tables, we will be finishing the importing of metadata into the OBA repository. Here we have selected two tables, so it came. Just click on finish. So now here you can see. So in order to verify whether we have imported the tables in the correct manner or not, just click on SH here, right click on that, go to physical diagram and select all objects and all joints. So these are the two tables that we have imported, and if you see here, there is a relationship exists already here. So just open that join and just see from the left table, which is product dimension, whether a key symbol is present or not. So it means that this is the primary key for this table, and here in the right side you can see product ID. So there has been already a relationship established between these two, since we have selected keys and foreign keys while importing the database metadata objects. So here also you can check the condition, just click on OK. And with this our importing metadata from Oracle database is complete. So in the next class we will see how to create alias and what is the purpose of alias, etc, etc. So subscribe for this channel for more videos on OBAE and other Oracle applications. Thank you for watching. So after you import tables into the repository under the physical layer, these are just these are not actual data, these are metadata. Metadata in the sense this contains only the information, what is the table, what is the column, and what is the data type that is present, but it doesn't contain any data. So basically whatever you see here is nothing but your metadata. So let's talk about these properties. So the first icon which is showing here is the database icon, database object, we will call in another way, database object. This is the connection pool object, this is the schema object, physical schema object, these are the tables, table object, these are the columns, and keys will be represented with the key symbol. So now if you see, these are the this is the tables and keys which we have imported by using the import functionality in OBAE under physical layer. So you can see this symbol, right? So if you just click on this symbol, so you can see a diagram without giving any columns, and if you see this symbol, just click on that symbol so that it will get aligned. So why I'm showing these features is, let's say if you have a star model with some 10 dimension tables with only one fact, wherein you want to see the entire diagram, it will be difficult for you if it's in this way. So, and you cannot see the relationship, and a view is not enough to show all the 100 tables. So you can use this functionality, click on the minimize button, collapse all button, and then click on the auto layout, so that you can see the diagram in a most efficient way. And you can use the zoom in zoom out just to see if it's more than sufficient, it's more than some columns, so you will not be able to see, so you can use the zoom in zoom out functionality. This diagram will be used to print your physical diagram into your documentation. So we have covered connection pool properties, examining physical layer objects, and printing physical layer. So now we'll go with the alias concept in the next tutorial. In this tutorial I'll show you how to create an alias in the physical layer. So before going through that, let's see what is the description, what is alias table. So alias table, it's nothing but a reference for the existing table itself. So basically when you want to represent any dimension or facts, so by looking at the table name, sometimes we will get confused if there are hundreds of tables. So in order to avoid that situation, so what we probably will do is we'll create an alias with our own understanding names. So here we know that products is dimension and sales is fact. So let's create an alias with the meaningful names. So create physical alias, create an alias, and you can see when I clicked on the products, you can see the source table as product here, but since it is a dimension, I want to keep the naming convention as dimension and products is the name. Now just click on OK. See here, you can see with a different icon. This icon represents alias. So now sales is fact. So I'll go and create one more alias for fact underscore sales. So now So probably what we'll do is we will not work with the actual tables, mostly we'll work with the alias. So now if you just select these two and select the physical diagram of these two, you won't see a relationship because we just created the alias. Now you need to give a join between these two. Since the underlying metadata will be same, so whatever the relationship it exists in the database, you can use the same relationship. You should use the same thing. So from the product, select the product ID, and from the fact, select product. Now that's it. We are done. This is one way of using the alias. And one more way is, let's say if you want to fetch some of the category details from this product, but category itself is a new dimension, then what we can probably do is you can create one more alias, like saying that it's a dim category, and you can use this table as a category table. Though the underlying table is same, but still you can represent this table as category table, and you can use this table to join the existing one, or like you can use this for the circular joins as well. And as I said, there are some restrictions. You cannot rename a column name, you cannot change the column data type. So if you want to change these things, you need to go and change into the actual table itself. And these are the advantages of alias. OBI does not support circular join directly, so we will use the alias concept to do the circular join, and self join also you can do by using alias. As I said, like earlier, one dimension can act as a multiple dimensions with different keys. So you wherever you find these scenarios, you can go ahead and use the alias functionality in RPD. That's it. We'll move on to the BMM layer in the next classes. Hi, in this tutorial we'll be going to discuss about building the building the business model and mapping layer of your repository. And here we'll be going to see how to build a business model, how to build logical tables, columns and their sources, and how to define logical joins, how to build measures, how to examine business model object properties, and how to get the diagram of business model and mapping layer. In short, we will be going to represent business model and mapping layer as BMM layer. Please note down this. Now we have our physical model ready with us. We are going to create a data BMM model. Just right click on that, create new business model, and just mention since this is SH schema, I'll say it's sales analytics, and you can see an option here which is unchecked, saying that it is disabled. Make sure that you enable, you just uncheck that box to enable the BMM model. So now we are ready with sales analytics BMM model. Now if you right click on that, you can see a new object, and you can select a logical table. This is one way of creating a logical table. In this tutorial we'll be going to use the basic functionalities in the real-time perspective. So what I meant to say is, we don't need to create manually every table and all. So instead you can use other functionalities such as dragging and using mouse, selecting the fields, etc, etc. So let's see now. So now we need one dimension column, one fact. One thing you need to remember in BMM model is you need to have at least a single fact and single dimension to form a model. So only with the dimensions you cannot build a model, and only with the facts you cannot build a model. At least you need to have one fact and one dimension. So here in our physical layer we have one dimension, one fact. Just select the two tables and just drag and drop on the business model. So here now you can see a slight difference in the icons. See, if you see any symbol with the table, you can call it as dimension table, and there is another icon here. You can see a hash signature on top of that icon, which represents facts, basically a fact table. So here also you can change the names as even more with good names with spaces on top. So here I would say dimension, let's say I will give different name, product dimension, and sales fact, or would it be this better in this way, sales fact, sales dimension, product, and here you can see all the columns that represent. Okay, to get the BMM diagram, you can simply click on the business model, click on the business model diagram, click on whole model. So now since we dragged both the tables together, even the join between them is also came into picture. But if you manually pull the tables to the BMM layer, then you have to set a relationship. So for now I am deleting the join. You can use the same join which is here, which is present here, but when you use it in BMM layer you will call it as logical join. When you use it in the physical layer you will call it as physical join. So give a relationship between fact and sales. Here in this join, if you see earlier in the expression we have given what is the relationship column that is established between product and sales. But here in the business model you will be only giving the logical join, which won't be having a join condition. But what happens when you query these two tables is it will refer the physical diagram and physical tables, and it will form a join which is present in the physical join. So you can set the cardinality function here. And one more advantage in the logical join is you cannot create a left outer join or inner outer join in the physical layer. So instead you can use the outer joins from logical join. This is one of the typical interview question you may face. Yeah, that's it. Now see, these names are not that much convenient for the user to understand, right? So what we will do is basically we will just right click on that. We will use a wizard called rename wizard. So just select on the wizard and use first letter of each. So basically we are giving a condition set of rules to rename these fields. So now you can see everything is in caps and underscore is present. So now I just want to change that. So basically change the occurrence of underscore into space, change the first letter of each word as capital. For now I'll be going to use these two. Oh my bad. Let's put init column as well. sorry, I'll do from the beginning. Just rename wizard, set all lowercase and then first letter of each. Now you can see the names got changed, and here also we'll use the same functionality. Select all the columns, right click on that, click on the rename wizard. First you select all the text as lowercase, then each occurrence of underscore into space, and then first letter of each word as capital. Click on next, finish. Yeah, here. Just make sure you have given the join. Yes, you have given a join. And now we are going to build the facts. So here if you see, these are generally invalid columns when it comes to fact table, because a fact table will represent only the facts which are present. So when we present to the user, end user or business user who will be going to create the reports, we won't show this ID columns to them, which is of no use for them. So for now I am removing ID columns. So I have two measures here, one is amount and one is quantity. I'll just rename the quantity sold as quantity and amount as sales amount. So now we have to do one more little setup to make this quantity and sales amount as a dynamic aggregation. So what I mean to say is, let's say if you want to see product, let's see if you have selected a single product, and if you want to see a quantity related to that, you can easily get, because the lowest granularity of the fact is present at the product. So what if you want to see the sum of quantity for each category, then you need to dynamically aggregate the information which is present in the quantity column. So dynamically, to set that representation, just double click on the quantity. There is a tab called aggregation, and select the default aggregation as sum. Basically here I want to sum the quantity which is present here. So similarly we'll go for aggregation sum for the sales amount. So that's it, we are done with the business model. And to get the diagram like we do, we'll use the same thing whatever we did in the physical layer. Just click on the collapse button, click on the diagram and take a screenshot and paste in your documentation. That's it. Now in the next tutorial I'll show you how to create the presentation layer. I'll show you how to create a presentation model. So now if you are clear with your BMM layer, then what you can do is you can simply use the complete BMM model directly into the presentation layer just by dragging and dropping here. As you can see, icon got changed to subject area. So I'll tell you a simple distinguishing between the physical layer, BMM and presentation layer. If you see here, SH is a schema. If you see the same model in BMM, we'll call it as BMM, basically logical model. If the same thing is present in presentation, we'll call it as subject area. And this is the presentation table. These are the presentation columns. Even though if you have ID columns present in BMM layer, until or unless business users wants the ID column, you can go ahead and remove product ID from this column, and fact columns will still be present, and there will not be any diagram for the presentation layer. One thing you need to know is when you double click on this, you can use the columns and let's say if you want product description to be displayed, product name should be displayed at the beginning, you can use this move up button. Sorry. And click on OK. See, now your product name came at the beginning. One more thing is you can set the properties by using permissions by using the permissions button here. You can set the restrictions for this table or column to a particular basically user or application role. So now one important thing that you need to remember is business users will only see whichever the data metadata presents in the presentation layer. They won't be able to see BMM model, or they won't be able to see physical model. So now in the immediate session, what we are going to do is we are going to upload this RPD into OBI system to see how exactly the business users will able to see the presentation layer. So just to revise you, so this is the subject area, this is the presentation column, under the presentation table, under that we have table columns, and this is the fact. Under the fact we have two fact measures. Okay, now I'm going here one more important thing, that so before you save the RPD, you need to do one consistency check. What this consistency check will do, so basically when you do this consistency check, the tool will compare and it will show you if there are any errors warning in your repository. So now since this is the basic model we did, we're not getting any reports of errors or warnings, but just to make it inconsistent, we'll just do a small change to see how it works. Now for example, I'll remove this join from the BMM layer and let's execute global consistency. So now here it's saying business model sales analytics is not consistent. Do you want to mark it as unavailable for queries? No. Say no or yes. See here you can see an error. Here it's saying sales analytics dimension product is not joined to any other logical table, and sales fact is also not joined with any logical table. So you need to go and resolve the issue, then only you can upload. You can ignore the warnings, but you cannot ignore the errors. An error will make your RPD inconsistent. So by mistake or by any cause, if you upload this RPD, there are chances that your OBI system will go down. So just make sure you check the consistency before, and shortcut for consistency check is Control K. So now I didn't find any errors. I'll just save this repository. You can use the button here to save, or you can use the save button from save option from file menu. Yeah, that's it. And now in the next tutorial we'll be uploading this RPD into OBI system, and we'll see how it works parallelly. Tutorial we'll see how our SHRPD, which we have created in previous sessions, how it looks in OBI. So just to have a review, sales analytics is the subject area, and these two are the tables that are present. So open your OBI, you enter the username and password, click on sign in. Now go to new and click on the analysis. Here you can see select subject area option, wherein sales analytics is present, so which is same as the name in the presentation subject area. I'll click on sales analytics. You can see two tables. You can see two tables present here. Now expand that to see all the columns that are present, and similarly for fact cells. Now you can create a simple analysis by using these two tables. Let's say I want to display the product name and the quantity associated and the sales associated for that product. So I just double clicked on that to fetch these columns in the analysis. Just click on results tab to see how the results will look like. It will take a minute as my system is little slow. Now you can see all the product names along with the quantity and sales amount. For example, if I want my quantity and sales amount for each category, then I'll go to criteria, I'll remove product, I'll put category, I'll just drag and drop before this facts and click on the results tab. See, now your product category, oh, it's my bad. So your product category and quantity and sales amount. Here if you see one small change is your quantity and sales amount column. So when I pull product category, we are able to see all the product categories that are present in the product category column. But when it comes to quantity, since quantity is a matrix, we are adding all the values which are present under the product category as electronics in this field. So that is nothing but the aggregation option which we have set in the BMM layer. So here you can see the aggregation rule which we have given here. Let's say if you want to instead of adding up all the quantities, let's say if you have a unit price where you need to see an average cost per each product, then we will go for average aggregation rule on top of the fact measure. Then you will get to see the average of the cost in the fact column if you set average as your matrix aggregation rule. I hope you understood how fact measures aggregation will work from the front end, and how you see subject areas, tables and underlying columns. So that's it.